Afternoon, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys from California. Before I begin, give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh. I also want to acknowledge the earthly mother, who is wisdom, who is the Holy Spirit. I also want to give acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. I pray that the Most High blesses this lesson today and gives knowledge and understanding. The events of the past, the events that are happening right now on the earth, and things soon to come to pass. Been reading and studying and reviewing some old books that I've already read from a while ago, and just trying to again synthesizing information, synthesizing prophecies as they are being fulfilled, and many people are unaware that the Most High is fulfilling many prophecies, especially many that He has in other books. And before I kind of get into that, I've been just seeing some comments, and people are still talking about, show me where it talks about the earthly mother or the Holy Spirit being female. Now, if you're really serious about learning, just scroll back. There are videos that I've done in the past as far as that is concerned. But then I constantly am asking them, show me where it says that the Most High ordained only 80 books. Many of the people who make videos say, hey, make a video that shows how you come to the conclusion that the Most High only ordained 80 books. There are many things that we have been told and that our people have just been accepting without any thought. I did see a video earlier, and it was titled something like the Book of Enoch doesn't align to the Holy Scriptures, or something to that matter. Well, which came first? Moses was not the first to write. Enoch was the first one to write. So if Enoch's works are earlier, then shouldn't the scriptures actually have to match up with what's in the book of Enoch? See, there's many things that we just assume, are correct, that we've been told. And we really need to question many things. I hear that many times about the earthly mother. I get that from other books. If you don't read them, then why would I waste time trying to explain it to you? And the same thing even with the scriptures. If you think that everything is in 80 books, prove it. I've asked many questions, and pretty much there's no takers. I said, use the Bible to show me how the Most High divided up the lands of the world. Show me where the Most High only ordained 80 books. I'm going to be getting into another book called the Sibylline Oracles. And it actually told us about the destruction of the farmlands, destruction of storehouses, and how that's a precursor to some other huge developing prophecies that are also being fulfilled. So like I said, you can't just assume that everything that Esau has told us, as far as what we can and cannot read, is true. I'm going to show you today how the Sibylline Oracles link up with the book of Esdras, and how some of that actually also links up to Nephi and the Book of Mormon. All these different books, when it's, precept upon precept, was not just talking about what's in the Bible. It's also talking about what's in other hidden books. The rabbit hole goes much deeper. Some people say things like, well, we don't have the correct or the original book of Enoch or something like that. Well, we could say the same thing about the whole Bible, about many of the books that are in the Bible, because many of the books in the Bible have been tampered with as well. I'm actually going to bring up some other videos with other information about Esau, admitting to how much they pretty much tampered with the New Testament. And I'm sure even with the Old Testament. So I'll be bringing some more of that information out later, but they've had their hands on our books this entire time, and they've written things into it to make this awakening confusing. And then we have people who are strategically placed to keep us from reading other books, to keep us stagnant and not learning and growing. So this web is very, very intricate, and I suggest that people continue to read and study as much as they possibly can and let the Spirit guide them and not man. Now we're going to get into the Sibylline oracles and how those prophecies are being manifested today, especially with the destruction in the Midwest of the farmlands, and how that's just a precursor to bigger um, destruction to come. All right, now let's see here. Just gonna move for me here. Oops, wrong one. Here we go. I brought this out in a couple of videos ago, and it's discussing. Hold on real fast. It's discussing these other books on number 18 right over here. It actually makes reference to the books that we're going to be getting into today. Let me read that 18 once again. Among the other apocryphal writings of the Old Testament may be enumerated or counted, right? The book of Jubilees, or the Little Genesis, the book of Enoch, the Assumption of Moses, the Ascent of Isaiah, the Apocalypse of Baruch, the Sibylline oracles, that's what we're going to be getting into today, the Psalter of Solomon, the Testament of the 12 Patriarchs. Not one of all these, though each is important from various points of view, has been recognized as canonical, with a single exception of Book of Enoch, which is received by the Abyssinian Church, but by no other. Remember, canonical, all this stuff is all Gentiles, Edomites making those decisions, who has nothing to do with these books. We have two points of view. We have the Gentile point of view, and their point of view is to pretty much hide as much information as they possibly can. The second point of view should be the Hebrew Israelite point of view, which is to reclaim our books, reclaim our understanding, so that we may be used for the Most High. So that's why I'm looking at it as two different points of view. If you're still stuck on the 80 books only, you're pretty much siding with the Gentile point of view, because they're the ones that gave you the 80 books, and that's the side you're standing on. If you're looking into get to other books, other historical information, synthesizing it together to get a better understanding, that would be more so what the Hebrew Israelite stance should be, because these books aren't Gentile books. All these books, all these works are our books, information that was handed down to our people. Okay? Now, so like I said, so I'm making it very plain here. If you can show me, make a video. If you know so much, a lot of these people, come in making comments, make a video. Show us how the Most High only gave us 80 books. I think I pretty much made it pretty clear that it was pretty much Gentiles that did that, not the Most High. He allowed them to do that for a time while we were serving our punishment. That was part of the plan. They had a rulership over our information. They had control. They were the priests of the world. They were the pastors. They were the ones that when people needed direction, they would go to the Gentiles. But now Most High is raising up his people. So now the rest of the world has an alternative. This right here shows you from that book I have from the Bible Aid book. I did a video a couple of, only a few days ago. They really go into this more in depth. But as you can see, those books were already here. They never said that. They said they're important, but they kept them because of a point of view. So you got 2 points of view, like I said, Gentile point of view, Hebrew Israelite point of view. Which side are you on? Those are the kind of choices you're going to have to make. And those are the things you're going to have to, when you stand in front of the Father, explain yourself. All right? Now let's get into this. I keep hitting the wrong button here. All right. First one. Let me make sure I get this. Is a Sibylline oracle. There's actually multiple books. We're going to be going into getting to book number 2. Let me get that real fast. Let me get my page. Here we go. 345, where it says the prophecy of the 10th generation. All right, this is very important right here. We're going to read 6 through 24. So right underneath where it says prophecy of disasters and the 10th generation. Here we go. It says, but when on earth there are raging earthquakes and thunderbolts, thunders and lightnings, and mildew of land. That's important right there. The mildew of the land will be like the pretty much the what is it? The flooding of the land. Okay. So when these things are starting to happen, all right, the mildew of the land and frenzy of jackals and wolves and slaughters and destructions of men and bellowing oxen, four-footed cattle and laboring mules, and goats and sheep, then much farmland will be left barren through neglect. Now, a lot of that neglect could be when they did not allow the land to rest. How they didn't give the land its rest, its Sabbath. And you know what happened when we didn't follow that path that we were supposed to? We didn't follow those rules. We were taken into slavery in order for our land to enjoy their Sabbaths. Now, I'm going to continue reading this in a little bit, but what I want to just go back up there to the top where it says, if you look to the right, it's highlighted. It says 4th Ezra 5, 1 through 7. I'm going to read that as well because that was actually linked to this part right here. All right, so let me go to 4th Ezra 5, 1 through 7. Let me go real quick. 5:31. Okay. I didn't copy the first verse, but I did copy the next couple. So you can listen to the first verse, and I'm going to read 1 through 7. Sign, it's called Sign of the Approaching End of the Age. That's what the section is called. Now concerning the signs, behold, the days are coming when those who dwell on earth shall be seized with great terror, and the way of truth shall be hidden, and the land shall be barren of faith. Is that not true right now? The way of truth is hidden. Okay, they hid all these books, all this understanding. They made our people to be at the bottom of the barrel. They've elevated themselves to be the top. So if anybody's looking for any direction, they're going to go to someone who has no understanding, and they're just going to end up being like a dog chasing their tail. Because, like it says right here, the truth shall be hidden, and the land shall be barren of faith. Yes, this world here has no faith because they have no understanding. Let me continue. And unrighteousness shall be increased beyond what you yourself see, and beyond what you heard of formerly. And the land which you now see ruling shall be a waste and untrodden. And men shall see it desolate. But if the Most High grants that you live, you shall see it thrown into confusion after the third period. And the sun shall suddenly shine forth at night, and the moon during the day. Blood shall drip from wood, and the stone shall utter its voice. And peoples shall be troubled, and the stars shall fall. And one shall reign, whom those who dwell on the earth do not expect. They're not expecting Yahushai to crack those skies open and be a person of color. Looking at all these people, and they're still putting up pictures of Caesarea. That's what they're expecting to come through. White Jesus. So someone that they're not going to expect is going to be the one that's going to show up. And just 99% of this world is waiting for Caesarea, white Jesus, to show up to deliver them. It's going to be a surprise. Nope, that's not who's coming. All right, let me read it again. And one shall reign, whom those who dwell on the earth do not expect. And the birds shall fly away together, and the sea of Sodom shall cast up fish. And one whom many do not know shall make his voice heard by night. All right, so right there. And the one whom the many do not know shall make his voice heard by night. So there's going to be a person that they are not expecting is going to make his voice heard. It's going to be a surprise. And the vast majority of people think they have it all down. Just like that Left Behind movie. Hey, I'm going to get raptured up because I said Jesus. I'm going to miss the tribulation. And then the Antichrist is going to come. Then all you people who didn't believe in white Jesus are going to have to go through the tribulation period. But since I believed in white Jesus, I'm good to go. That's what they think. But that's why these books are hidden, because these books go counter, clockwise to everything. It's contrary to everything that they believe in. So like it said before, depending on your points of view, some of these books are important. Some of them will not be. If you got a Gentile point of view, or you're supporting a Gentile point of view, you won't want to read any of these books. But if you're a Hebrew Israelite point of view, you're going to want to read anything you can get your hands on. Okay, let me continue reading here. And one whom the many do not know shall make his voice heard by night, and all shall hear his voice. There shall be chaos also in many places, and fire shall often break out, and the wild beasts shall roam beyond the haunts, and minstrous women shall bring forth monsters, and salt waters shall be found in the sweet, and all friends shall conquer one another. Then shall reason hide itself, and wisdom shall withdraw into its chamber. And it shall be sought by many, but shall not be found. And unrighteousness and unrestraint shall increase on earth. And one country shall ask its neighbor, has righteousness, or anyone who does right pass through you? And will answer, no. And at that time men shall hope, but not obtain. They shall labor, but their ways shall not prosper. These are the signs which I am permitted to tell you. And if you pray again, and weep as you do now, and fast for 7 days, you shall hear yet greater things than these. All right. Let me go back here. Where was it before? Now that said Sibylline oracles. I said links up with that. Let me get back over there real quick. Kind of going back and forth here. So this takes it's a lot of here a little, there a little, making things match up and things like that. It takes a lot of time and a lot of studying to do all this. Okay, so let's go back here to this one. And these actually books come from my Old Testament pseudepigrapha. That's what it's called here. Let me see here. The Old Testament pseudepigrapha, written by James Charles Worth, or the editor anyways. This is volume 1. There's actually 2 volumes. Okay, so let me continue reading on this right here. I'm going to go back to the farm, number 10. I'll read from there. 4-footed cattle and laboring mules, and goats and sheep. Then much farmland will be left barren through neglect, and fruits will fail. Selling of free men into slavery will be practiced among very many people, and robbing of temples. Then indeed the 10th generation of men will also appear after these things, when the earth shaking lightning, a lightning giver, will break the glory of idols and shake the people of seven-hilled Rome. Great wealth will perish, burn in a great fire by the flame of Hephaestus. Then there will be bloody precipitation from heaven, but the entire world of innumerable men will kill each other in madness. Okay? In the tumult, the Most High will impose famine and pestilence and thunderbolts on men who adjudicate without justice. Now, I'm going to talk about that really quick. The whole part about the, I want to say adjudicate, okay, without justice. That's what most of these people, they make. I'm going to look at the word adjudicate and the definition of it, okay? Right here. To make a formal judgment or decision about a problem or disputed matter. Many of these Gentiles, and actually come on the comment board, and I actually got a couple of the comments, so I want to talk about this, make many accusations, or they make many, they pretty much make their opinions aware about how they feel about our people. And many times they make it seem as if they talk about the plight of our people and how our people are at the bottom and the negative things that our people do. but they almost never discuss how their actions put our people in these positions. It's like, yeah, our people are pretty screwed up, but we didn't get here by ourselves. We had a whole lot of help. But when most of the nation, most of the world, pretty much refuse to look at history and look at the actions of their ancestors. So they want to make it sound as if our people have broken homes. We don't have money. We're not as educated. Um, we get into a lot more trouble with the law, things like that. But they make it seem as if that's just we've done it on our own. So these people they're adjudicating, they're making these judgments on us, but they're not taking into account the actions of their ancestors. So it's really easy to throw rocks, but be careful when you live in a glass house, because those rocks are going to right back at you. And that's what the Most High is talking about right here. When he was reading, it was at the end there, talking about these men here. Okay? Let me see. When it goes back there, let's see here. God will impose famines and pestilence and thunderbolts on men who adjudicate without justice. These people are seeming to think that they never have to pay. They make these kinds of judgments without thinking that, without justice. Like, our people do not deserve justice. Just work harder. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. We've all had the same opportunities. I've gotten here because I've earned it. That's the way they think. You haven't gotten anywhere because you're lazy, because you don't have good morals. That's what they tell themselves. But the Most High has been keeping tabs on absolutely everything. So when people come on the comment board and they make comments, you're just marking yourself. That's all that you're doing. This is one right here from Jim Campbell. When you get your people to respect other peoples whose culture and race are not yours, and quit killing them by the black on white crime, and each other, then the Most High may answer your prayers. Do you really think your people are the victims today? Cops who are your own people don't trust their own people. Quit robbing, home invading, knockout games, murdering, drug dealing, being boisterous and unruly when in public. You have no reason to be but humble. This is why you are being profiled and pulled over and subsequently shot, if need be. And almost every time your people are doing something wrong, you don't care. So why should the Most High care about you? Take care of your own house first. You are to love your brother, both Gentile, Japheth, and the Edomite. See, they want to be able to say whatever it is they want to say about us, and then we're still supposed to love them. That's like Christian doctrine that we've been given. We can screw you over, sleep with your wife, rape her, rape your kid, rape your son, rape you, sell you, take away your heritage for hundreds of years, steal your land, steal everything from you. At the end, you still need to love me. Come on, man. I mean, it's getting really old. But this is what the Most High was talking about. These people right here, who are just pretty much marking themselves. When it says, God will impose famines and pestilence and thunderbolts on men who adjudicate without justice. This person is given all this information out. Again, he's just a typical Edomite response. Blame you for the things that they are guilty of. Home invading, you guys invade continents. Knockout games, you guys came here and were knocking out everybody. Men, women, children, old people, destroying, murdering. You guys came here and murdered continents, hundreds of millions of people. Right? Drug dealing, you guys control all the trade of that. What are you talking about? Being loud and unruly. When you came here, you were loud and unruly. You came and took everything. You see that? And it's like you sit here and talk about us when you're guilty of all these things. And then on top of all the things you've done to us, we're supposed to just love you and to move on. The Most High is not moving on. Let's continue the next one. Another one from Jim Campbell. And we already know that many Edomites and other Gentiles think the same way. So don't feel bad, Esau. I'm not just talking about you. Many of our own people, like the guy said, yeah, many of our own people don't care because they have bought into the system and they get the perks for buying into the system. But the Most High is going to talk about that also in the Sibylline oracles. We're going to get into that too. Anyone claiming to be genetically related to true children of Israel would be lucky to have a 132nd in them. We know the fake Jews and de facto Israel aren't. As the Most High said, he will deliver you into the hand of your enemy, scatter your seed, take you to a land where your fathers do not know the language. As the captains on the ship were asking the slaves what tribe they are from so to keep them together. You and your commenters have selective understanding only when it fits a narrative. You don't know if the black dude is a Hamite. Israel is all who are in Christ Jesus. So now we got the people going ahead and just, replace theology now. So after you say all that about how the Jewish people aren't the Israelites, yeah, you guys kind of fit a lot of the curses, but that doesn't matter either because anyone who believes in Jesus Christ is Israel. You got three different things going on here. This is the new covenant for the Jew, Greek, or even Esau. Stop wasting your time being a stiff-necked people. Genealogy doesn't matter anymore. YouTube disciple of Yeshua, brother Elijah, let him go upside your head with scripture. Okay. I think I asked this guy, show me anywhere in the New Testament where it says the Most High, anywhere in the Bible where it says the Most High made a new covenant with Gentiles. And of course, I didn't get an answer because it doesn't say that in there. So this wasn't a Jew or Greek. See, again, they always run to the same things over and over again. Jew or Greek just means Greeks are on top. That's what you guys really mean. And that everyone else is at the bottom. And especially the true Israelites are at the bottom. Again, this guy right here is doing the whole thing. God will impose famines and pestilence and thunderbolts on men who adjudicate without justice. Again, we can go through all those things, all the curses, but there's going to be no justice for us. The Most High is not going to impose justice for us. So you get to just say Jesus, and now you don't have to go through any of the curses, and you get all the blessings that we get after going through all that we've gone through. So I already said what you guys are going to get because you guys are not being truthful. You're the ones being selective. You have very selective memory. But that's okay. Most will take care of all of that. Okay, again, let's see here. I wanted to read this because I keep hearing that whole thing with the Jew nor Greek. Galatians 28. The Galatians 3 and 28 justify this. This information is from the Dogs of the Conquest, page 4. The Jew nor Greek, Galatians 3:28 justify all this, because that's pretty much what you guys have used. You've done all these horrible deeds worldwide, Gentiles. But then you keep running to Galatians 3 and 28, and somehow that just means that you don't have to serve any punishment. But you use that as your, I don't know what you guys used in your own minds to pretty much justify the things that you've done. But I'm going to read a little bit here about how the Spanish outfitted their second expedition here to the new world. Now, like most Christians, they'll say certain things to make it sound a certain way. Like the Spanish made it sound like they were coming over here to spread Christianity. But the way they outfitted the expedition, they were coming here primarily for gold, for land. Now, just like, now we got these Gentiles who are have been doing all these horrible things, but then they'll run back to the Bible and say Galatians 3 and 28, 3:16. Well, when you guys had a chance to actually implement these things and be godlike, you didn't do it. So let me read a little bit here about the, it's in the middle. It says the supplies and equipment of the fleet, however, were left by the sovereigns to the discretion of their personal chaplain, the shrewd Archdeacon of Seville, Juan Rodriguez de Fonseca. This predates perception. This guy's part of the church. All right. This predates a perception of the true purpose of the venture, and his knowledge of the Spanish character made him keenly aware that the Renaissance Crusaders would find dogs indispensable in a pagan world. The monarchs specified a kind of loving treatment of the Indians on Columbus's second voyage, okay, and their speedy conversion to Christianity. So they said they wanted to quickly, become Christians, supposedly, okay. But at the same time, however, they stressed the settlement of the land, the organization of trade centers, and a careful garnering of material resources. Fonseca was aware that to carry out the second capitulation successfully, some compromise had to be made between desire for material gain and evangelical piety. So is it, what's your God? I gave you these opportunities. Most High gave you these opportunities. What's your priority? What is the Most High or money? And pretty much money and power wins out every single time. So that doesn't really work out well with Galatians 3:28. Treating people the same, treating people with respect. That didn't play out here. And it hasn't played out at all. Okay? So let's see here. So some compromise had to be made between desire for material gain and evangelical piety. Such profits as the crown expected, he knew, okay, would have to be obtained eventually by means of enforced labor and human bondage. So how exactly is that Galatians 3:28? Enforced labor and human bondage. He surmised that though the Indians might be a Pacific, as Columbus had described them, they would not adjust to manual labor without coercion. I love these words. Manual labor without force, pretty much, huh? In consequence, he made certain that when Columbus's splendid fleet sailed in September 1493, it was adequately equipped with men, arms, and a pack of 20 purebred mastiffs and greyhounds. These dogs and the others that followed were to lay a bloody trail across the islands and mainland of the new found world. Okay? So please, save me the Galatians 3:28. And this time, I had a discussion with people, and they keep on pulling it out. And I'm like, well, let's look at history. Let's look at what you guys have done. When you have that opportunity to be godly people, to stress that, heavenly piety to people, to be warm and a great influence and a direction and be a path to the Father, you chose money. So now at the end, when we're bringing out the truth, save thee, you still need to love Esau, you still need to love the Gentiles. We love we love the people who acknowledge the truth. We love the ones who acknowledge the truth, who accept the truth, who love our power, who want to do the right thing. Those are the ones that we're instructed to love, not everyone. If you're like these other people who still hate us and don't take responsibility for any of the actions of their forefathers, the Most High is going to deal with you. I don't have to worry about that because the Most High is already dealing with you. So until you can start, bringing together how Galatians 3:28 justifies these kinds of actions, stop using it. That will work on someone who doesn't know anything about history or doesn't know anything at all. And that's the vast majority of our people, yes. But now be careful, because now you're going to run into people who actually know history and know that Bible much better than you do, on top of other books. All right. Check this out. This is why the vast majority of people are not going to make it, because they don't believe in justice for our people. I saw this popped up here on my feed. I wanted to kind of share this. It says, do you care about polls against reparations for descendants of slaves? I like this right here because, like I said, this is how people really feel. When they talk about, oh yeah, I feel bad about what happened to you guys. Well, what do you guys think we should do about it? Do you guys think we should have reparations? Hell no. Hell no, I ain't giving you guys no money. We're not giving you guys anything. Work hard for it. Go earn it like we did. Yeah, okay. That said, just remember that, because Mo already talked about what he's going to do. He said, let me read that one time. God will impose famines and pestilence and thunderbolts on men who adjudicate without justice, who make these kinds of, who judge without thinking that, we need justice. So you look at the left, it says descendants of slaves. It says, do you think the government should or should not make cash payments to the following groups of people? Descendants of slaves, with 68% said, hell no. Slaves after the Civil War, okay, 31% said no. I mean, I don't know how that gets, but okay. Japanese interned during World War II, 41% said no. So, it's almost a wash. But check out the ones at the end. Germany to Jews who survived the Holocaust. 55% said yes, they should. 25% said no. So I guess the Jewish people deserve to get reparations for a couple of years of things happening to them. But the Israelites who were here for hundreds of years had their land stolen, had everything taken away from them, had all their resources taken away from them. 68% of them said, hell no, you don't get anything. But that's okay. That's okay, because all those people are given a testimony to the Most High. Because when you want the Most High to forgive you, when you want mercy from the Most High, he's going to remember the people who said hell no to his people. Then he's going to give you this again. Let me read it again. God will impose famines and pestilence and thunderbolts on men who adjudicate without justice. See, this is all coming from the Sibylline oracles. And this is why they hide it, because this does not fit their point of view. It does not fit what they want to push. That's why these books were left out. Okay. Next. All right. Let me see here. I think we're going to a next section here. Signs of the end of the world, or signs of the end. Let me get that real quick. Signs of the end. Again, this is also going to be connected with 4th Ezra as well, as highlighted section on the right, the pink, okay? But whenever this sign appears throughout the world, children born with gray temples from birth, afflictions of men, famines, pestilence, and wars, change of times, lamentations, many tears. Alas, how many people's children in the countries will feed on their parents with piteous lamentations? They will place their flesh in cloaks and bury them in the ground. Mothers' peoples defiled with blood and dust. That is connected to 4th Ezra 6 and 21. So let me go there real quick. Check this out. Getting there. Bear with me. Okay. Here we go. Oh, actually, I have it up, I think, for you guys. All right. It's in the middle there. I'm going to start around, I think, 18. Behold, okay? It's in the purple there at the end. Behold, the days are coming, and it'll be that when I draw near to visit the inhabitants of the earth, and I require from the doers of iniquity the penalty of their iniquity, and when the humiliation of Zion is complete. They say it right there, Zion, his people, are going to be humiliated at the bottom the entire time. People not saying to restore them. People saying don't give them reparations. People saying, hey man, look at all what you guys are killing yourselves. Look at what you guys are doing. That's all part of the humiliation of Zion. And this is why a lot of these books are kept out, because they don't want you to realize that Zion is your timepiece. Zion, the people of Zion, are the ones that you use to figure out where we are as far as biblical prophecy is concerned. Now we're going to link that humiliation of Zion a little bit later with the book of Nephi. We're going to read that in a little bit, okay? But let me continue this again. When the humiliation of Zion is complete, and when the seal is placed upon the age which is about to pass away, then I will show these signs. The books shall be opened before the firmament, and all shall see it together. Infants a year old shall speak with their voices. And this actually happened in the past as well. After the ascension of Yahushua, there's books where actually these kinds of things were happening. Like little babies were talking. Okay. Um, Listen, infants a year old shall speak with their voices, and women with child shall give birth to premature children at 3 or 4 months, and these shall live and dance. Sown places shall suddenly appear unsown, and full storehouses shall suddenly be found to be empty. All right, and this trumpet shall sound aloud, and when all hear it, they shall suddenly be terrified. At that time, friends shall make war on friends like enemies, and the earth and those who inhabit it shall be terrified, and the springs of the fountains shall stand still, so that for 3 hours they shall not flow. And if you look to the right, there's actually more precepts over there. One thing I wanted to take a look at was this one right here. Remember now, before these floods in the Midwest, a lot of the farms had a lot of grain, a lot of corn stored up to sell in a future date. Kind of like goes along with the whole thing with the 7 years of feast and the 7 years of famine of Egypt. Okay, so let me read that again. Let me see here. About 22, on 4th Ezra, we continue reading it again. Sown places shall suddenly appear unsown. So the lands right here were ready to be sown, ready to be have their seeds planted in order to grow crops. But then all of a sudden, appear unsown. They can't be. You can't plant now because of the water, because of the mildew of the land. Like I was talking about in the Sibylline oracles. Okay, and full storehouses shall suddenly be found to be empty. Now these storehouses, all this grain, all this food that was actually set up for the future, all of a sudden is now wasted, is now done, cannot be used, cannot be consumed. But what happens after this is what's important. After these things is kind of like a sign of all this destruction, okay, of these lands and these farms, okay? Now what happens after that? It says, just, full storehouses shall suddenly be found to be empty, and the trumpet shall sound aloud. And when all hear it, they shall suddenly be terrified. And at that time, friends shall make war on friends like enemies. And the earth and those who inhabit it shall be terrified. And the springs of the fountains shall stand still. The main thing is this. Most High was talking about these farmlands, these lands are going to be destroyed. And then after those farmlands are destroyed, okay, the Most High is going to make the other nations begin to fight with each other. What do we have going on over in the Middle East? We have all this military equipment being sent over there. We got many people who used to be allies are now going at each other's throats. You can tell that there's something in the air that it's about to happen. Things are never going to be as they were before. So the Most High is showing you how it was going to be the destruction of these farmlands, destruction first of lands, the waking up of His people. At the end of our humiliation, was that these things are going to begin to happen. Our people have been humiliated for hundreds and hundreds of years, thrown to the side. As we tell the truth, they just kind of just ignore us. But now the Most High is showing them that, hey, these things were prophesied to happen. The breadbasket of this country is being destroyed. And it says that after that, there's going to be trumpets sounds. People are going to be terrified. And then all of a sudden, they're going to fight with each other. That's what this is talking about. That's what these books, and they're connected. You know, with the Sibylline oracles. And then also with 4th Ezra. And this connects also with 2nd Ezra. Take a look here. Take a look right here. It says, Egypt, of course, is our captivity, lands where we were, held in captivity. 2nd Ezra chapter 15, we'll start at verse 12. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that God shall bring upon it. They that till the ground shall mourn, for the seeds shall fail through the blasting and hail. and with a fearful constellation. So the hail, the storms, the water, all that has destroyed these farmlands, right? That's 13. Read that again. They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail through the blasting and hail, and with a fearful constellation. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. So that destruction of the farmlands lets you know that the sword is about to drop. It's getting close, all right? And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So again, showing you the order too. The destruction of these lands, these farmlands, will then lead to the sedition of the people destroying each other. These people who used to be with each other, to be allies, are now going to begin to go at each other and destroy each other. That's what you're looking at right now. And like I said, these other books are so very important. All right. Let me see here. The the distinction of righteous and wicked. That is also in the Sibylline oracles. Let me get that real quick. Let me go there. That's the bottom of the highlighted part right there, okay? I'm going to start where it's highlighted, where it says, all the righteous will be saved, but the impious will then be destroyed for all ages. As many as formerly did evil or committed murders, and as many as are accomplices. So many of our own people are accomplices. Many of our own people support the system. Many Gentiles, many Hebrews, okay? The accomplices, okay? Liars and crafty thieves and dread destroyers of houses, parasites and adulterers, who pour out slander, terrible, violent men, and lawless ones, and idol worshippers, as many as abandoned the great immortal God and became blasphemers. So these are our own people who, have abandoned their power, who decided to follow the Greeks, just like in Maccabees chapter 1, who decided to give up going back, to the Most High in order to stay with the other nations, with Esau and his system. The ones who are people who don't see the Most High ever coming back and want to pretty much join hand in hand with the heathen. That's what this is talking about right here. All right? It says, who pour out slander, terrible, violent men, and lawless ones, and idol worshippers, as many as abandoned the great immortal God, and became blasphemers, and ravagers of the pious, breakers of faith, and murderers of the righteous men. Okay? And as many elders and reverend deacons as, okay, by crafty and shameless duplicity regard, judge with respect, dealing unjustly with others, trusting in deceitful statements. I said, I want to make sure we take a look at that. It's trusting in deceitful statements. Okay? It's trusting in Galatians 3:28 and saying that means that pretty much Esau can do whatever he wants. And that you are at the bottom. And that you guys will never have to pay for anything that you do. Okay? Trusting in deceitful statements like John 3:16 means the Most High came and he loves the whole world. When easily you can go to 2 Ezra 6:54 and read on down, and it shows you that he doesn't. We've had all these deceitful statements, especially from these churches, that have kept our people asleep. Deceitful statements such as, the Most High only gave us 80 books, and you're not allowed to go anywhere else to look at anything else. These are all deceitful statements that our people have been living under. There's much more information. We are at the end. The Most High has already unleashed these destructive storms to destroy the farmlands. He already has all these nations at each other's throats right now. We keep taking military equipment over there to fight with one another. because the Most High is now at any minute, any moment, is going to start to make them fight with each other. So like I said, the trusting in deceitful statements. We are trusting in all these things the Esau, Edomites, and the other nations have given us. And many refuse to listen to their own brethren who are trying to help them. We're trying to give them more knowledge and understanding. Trusting and deceitful statements. Like pretty much saying that the Gentiles have authority over our books to teach them. Those are deceitful statements that anyone can teach. When the Most High says that the scrolls and everything were given to his people. If the other nations want mercy, they need to get in order. They need to do things the way the Most High has ordained it, not the way they would like it. The Most High did not give our records to everyone. He gave them to us. The other nations have had them, they've been used to keep them, but now that we have been raised back up, it's time for us to stand back up and teach the truth. And then the ones who now want to follow the one true power will get in line and first acknowledge our power and follow our people. That's the order the Most High had it. That's the way that it was when we came into the new land and Rahab helped our people. She didn't try to usurp authority. She accepted authority and she helped our people and she received mercy. Cornelius, if he was a Hebrew or not, since they say he wasn't, but he took care of our people. He acknowledged our power and took care of our people, and he received mercy. In the book of Judith, okay, person there acknowledged our power, received mercy. Okay, so there's precedence, but it has to be in the order the Most High has set up. It's not going to be the way the Gentiles have set it up. It's not going to be believing white Jesus. Galatians 3:28, John 3:16, we're all good. That's not how it's going to be. That's not the way the Most High set it up. Okay. Now, I want to read a little bit. I don't know if I made all the copies, but it goes back to when the Most High accomplishes the putting our people at the bottom. Let me get that one more time, because like I said, it's really important. When I says, it's again from 4th Ezra, when it says, and when the humiliation of Zion is complete. This is really important because this goes into, they go into this in 1st Nephi, chapter 22. Okay? I'm going to make that real fast. I'm going to read it from the book. Us to be put on the bottom isn't for the Gentiles to gloat. We're not at the bottom so you can gloat. We've been put at the bottom so the Most High can show his power. We've been put at the bottom to find out if you're going to humble yourselves as other nations and follow us when we are at the bottom. When you start to see the Most High doing his work, are you going to be proud, or are you going to get in line and follow the ways of the Most High? Most will not. We already know that. They're not going to be allowed to. But some will. But I'm going to read right here, 1st Nephi, chapter 22, verse 9. And it shall also be of worth unto the Gentiles, and not only unto the Gentiles, but unto all the house of Israel, unto the making known of the covenants of the Father of heaven, unto Abraham, saying, in thy seed shall all the kindreds of the earth be blessed. So you guys are going to be blessed, but your blessing comes from us being put at the bottom. And as we awaken, then you have the choice to follow the abominable church or to follow the Most High and his people. Let's continue with 10. And I would, brethren, that ye should know that all the kindreds of the earth cannot be blessed unless he shall make bare his arm in the eyes of the nations. Okay, that's very important. Now, make bear his armies put us at the bottom. Again, we read that again. And I would, my brethren, that ye should know that all kindreds of the earth cannot be blessed unless he shall make bare his arm in the eyes of the nations. Now, this make bare is actually mentioned in as a precept to it is Isaiah 52 and 10. Let me get that real quick. The book of Isaiah, chapter 52, verse 10. The Lord hath made bare his holy arm in the eyes of all the nations, and all the ends of the earth shall see the salvation of our God. Again, I read that again. The Lord hath made bare his holy arm, must be his people, in the eyes of all the nations, and all the ends of the earth shall see the salvation of our God. So he put us at the bottom. He spread us all over the place, all over the four corners, so everyone can see the salvation of our power. So everyone can get a first row seat to see the Most High saving his people. So when a lot of you other people are making comments and you're gloating and talking about how horrible we are and how bad we are as far as parenting and raising our children and being on drugs and drinking and being womanizers and not doing the things we're supposed to be doing, the Most High said he did that. He's the one that did that to us. It wasn't you. You were just the vessels that he chose to use. But he's the one that did that to us. And he also said that at the end, when the humiliation of Zion is complete, then all these things are going to happen, like the destruction of the farmland. When after that destruction of that farmland begins, then after that is going to be the trumpet sounds. And then the other nations are going to fight with each other and destroy one another. And you can already see that's already getting ready to happen. Let's go to 11. Actually, I'll read 10 one more time because I think it's that important. And I would, my brethren, that ye should know that all the kindreds of the earth cannot be blessed unless he shall make bare his arm in the eyes of the nations. So you other nations haven't been getting blessed by helping the Israelis. He first had to put us at the bottom in order for you to also receive your blessing. Now I'm going to go to 11. Wherefore the Lord God will proceed to make bare his arm excuse me, in the eyes of all the nations, and bringing about his covenants and his gospel unto those who are of the house of Israel. So he's bringing his information first to us. A couple of these verses didn't get put on here, but that's okay. I'm just going to read them. I'm going to read 12 and 13. Okay. Wherefore he will bring them again out of captivity, and they shall be gathered together to the lands of their inheritance, and they shall be brought out of obscurity and out of darkness. We're out of obscurity. That's very important. Our people are obscure. They're hidden. That means no one knows who they are. So the Jewish people aren't being brought out of obscurity because everyone has always known who they are ever since they converted to our practices. So this is another people that have been hidden, that have been left in obscurity. All right. Let me read that again. This is 12 again. Wherefore he will bring them again out of captivity, and they shall be gathered together to the lands of their inheritance, and they shall be brought out of obscurity and out of darkness, and they shall know that the Lord is their Savior and their Redeemer, the mighty one of Israel. And the blood of the great and abominable church, which is the whore of all the earth, shall turn upon their own heads. For they shall war among themselves, and the sword of their own hands shall fall upon their own heads, and they shall be drunken with their own blood. See that again? The awakening right there. He made bare the arm. He awakens us. If you go back to the Sibylline oracles and 4th Ezra right right there, the destruction of the farmlands. Then after that is the other nations began to destroy themselves, fight with each other. And that's what 13 was talking about. And here we go to 14. And every nation which shall war against thee, O house of Israel, shall be turned one against another, and they shall fall into the pit which they digged to ensnare the people of the Lord. And all that fight against Zion shall be destroyed, and that great whore who hath perverted the right ways of the Lord, yea, that great and abominable church shall tumble to the dust, and great shall be the fall of it. Okay? And right there for 15, for behold, saith the prophet, the time cometh speedily that Satan shall have no more power over the hearts of the children of men. For the day soon cometh that all the proud and they who do wickedly shall be as stubble. And the day cometh that they must be burned. So these people who are proud, who look at us and look down on us and look like we've gotten to the situation on our own. This is your future, unless you change. It says, Satan shall have no more power over the hearts of children of men. For the day soon cometh, all the proud, and they who do wickedly, shall be as stubble. And the day cometh, that they must be burned. This is no joke. All this stuff all these events now are all starting to come together. Our awakening will not be stopped. If anything, it's going to continue to increase. The Most High is not playing anymore. The Most High has awakened many of his people. He has shown you that he was going to destroy lands, farmlands, crops. Just a little precursor to the big show. And the big show is just about here. He's given many of you your opportunities to hear the truth, to chase after the truth. If you don't believe me, that's cool. Search it yourself. I'm not trying to limit anyone. Go read, go say, let the Holy Spirit guide you. Step out on faith. Step out on the fact that the Most High will send the Holy Spirit to open your eyes to see things that no one else can. When I put many of these videos together, the Most High leads me, sends me the Spirit, and she leads me to a lot of this different information. Or I'll have a conversation, and in that conversation will turn into a topic for a video. Or I'll see something on television, and the Most High will put it, send the Spirit, and she'll tell me something, and I'll write things down. The Most High is not in a box. The Most High is not stuck in only teaching you about himself in the 80 books of the Jews primarily. The Most High is everywhere, and you can learn about him everywhere. Brethren, we're at the end. It's time to get on our knees and ask the Most High to forgive us, forgive our ancestors, and to restore us. We're at that time. All praises to the Most High, Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother, who is wisdom, who is the Holy Spirit. Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. Shalom.